Welcome to the Lee Michaels Show with Carol and your daily cast of characters, where we discuss the issues of the day, entertainment news, what's really going on in Washington, and the world. Why don't we just hear it from the horse's mouth himself?
We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. I don't think it's safe to be briefed on national security because the word will get out. I know at some point they're going to want to brief me, but I'm not a talker about this stuff. This is like Watergate, only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets.
Of course, it turns out the Russians didn't need to hack Hillary's email server. They were able to hack Trump's mouth.
This is like Watergate, only it's worse.
The Lee Michaels Show on the Power of Voices Radio Network.
And welcome to the show. It's called The Lee Michaels Show with Carol and the cast of characters. We air Monday through Thursday, which includes today, at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. It's noon in the Midwest and 1 p.m. out on the East Side. Yeah, I'm feeling good. How about you? Welcome to the show. Let's get it on. In my little monologue today, I want to talk about nepotism. Because the pot is calling the kettle black. Donald Trump's son-in-law, Mr. Ding Dong, Mr. Smarty Pants, Mr. Chief Advisor, is critical of the head honcho, Mr. Over in North Korea. He says, hey, he's only got the position because of his father. Well, you only got the position, you ding-dong, because of your father-in-law. Because your wife probably went to her daddy and whined like a little baby and said, would you make my husband your chief advisor, please, Dad? He's so smart. And he's a successful businessman like you. Please, Daddy, I think it'll be good. And I'll be there with you. And the three of us get along so well. You know that's how that went down. Come on. Listen, I'm not making this up. You know that's how it went down. There's the pot calling the kettle black. Kirshner is the son-in-law to Donald Trump. He's his main man, his chief advisor. Probably has more access to him than the chief of staff, who's got far more experience in probably everything than the son-in-law. So how does that work, folks? Explain it to me. I don't get it. I really don't. And the nerve of him to complain. Now, listen, I'm not a fan of this Jun Moon Humbung guy at all. I think he's a moron. I think he's a bully. I don't think they've got the warheads and all of that. And how would we know anyway? Do we have spies up in the house? It's possible. But I doubt it. Because this guy would kill him. So it's all a little bit of guesswork, I think. It's like yesterday, the Russians had spy planes flying over the Pentagon and other strategic places in America. And it's a treaty that it's been around for a long time. And the planes actually land here in America. Somewhere in Ohio, if I remember correctly. How does that happen? How does your adversaries have access to your land, landing their spy planes on your property? You telling me we can do that in Russia? I don't think so. I really don't. That's a weird treaty. When I read the article, I said, what the hell is this? Are you kidding me? This really exists? This has been going on for years. This is not something that Trump came up with. I don't remember how long ago this treaty was signed, but it may go back 40, 50 years. I don't know. I'll do a little research on that. But what's interesting here is, you see, things like a treaty, it may sound like it makes good sense at that moment when it was signed, just like all of the things in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all of that was perfect when our forefathers sat down and wrote these documents. But I certainly believe that they should be reviewed from time to time and updated based on the way things are today. 200 and some years ago, the gun of choice was a musket, which was not very accurate. And you could even blind yourself from the powder burn. And probably anything over 50 feet away, you didn't have a good chance of hitting it. It just wasn't that accurate. But it was better than throwing a rock. Probably not as accurate as a bow and arrow. But it made noise and scared the hell out of you, and when it hit its target, it caused some damage. So, and I'm not going to dig into the gun rights thing. Listen, I don't have a problem with people having guns, but just certain people should never have a gun because they're morons. They're idiots. They're insensitive to life itself. Too quick in pulling a trigger, taking someone's life, or causing serious injury. You telling me that the gangsters back in the day, Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, all those thumpers out there that were a part of the original Constitution, writing out the law of the land, if we could advance them to 2017 and put a laptop in lap, they would say, what the hell? What is this? Where am I? Who did this? How do we get here? What do you think they would have penned? What would they pen today? What would the Constitution look like today if they were writing the law of the land today? I'm just throwing that out for a little thought. Think about it. Do you think things would be written differently? Now, I'm not saying that everything that they wrote does not apply or make sense today, because much of it does. But what would they have written if they had to sit down today, right now, with all the crap and bovine that's going on in the world? What would it look like today? The Constitution of the United States of America. I bet it looked a lot different. I think it would read differently. I think it would be able to see what might be happening in the future. Yeah, man, atomic bombs, missiles of the sort that we have today, the Navy, atomic bombs. I mean, come on. Do you think the mindset would be different? Now, I take it that these guys were pretty brilliant, but it's no way in hell, no way in the world that they could see this far into the future. And if you were writing the Constitution of the United States today, you wouldn't be able to see any further than what's right now. So why is this document so ironclad? Why hasn't it been amended more often than it has? Why is it that we are afraid to do that? Things do change. And I think these type of documents, do you realize there are laws in certain states that are still on the books that prevents a man of color, a black man, walking down the street, and if a white woman was walking on that same sidewalk, he has to put his head down and go to the other side of the street. It's crazy. There's some crazy laws that are still on the books. Now, whether they're enforced or not, I guess it's irrelevant, but why are they still there? Why aren't those things deleted, eliminated? Is it just a friendly reminder as to how things used to be? But technically, if it's still on the books, it could be enforced. Why aren't laws updated from time to time? The only time that things are changed is when you want to go backwards. Why is that? When you want to take people backwards, not forward. Stripping people from their freedom. Why is that? Why do we have people who want to build walls, segregate people, keep you from having access to quality education? Why is that? Why is it that it's difficult to get a good job in the United States of America? I'm not going to worry about the rest of the world, but just here in America, the greatest country on earth, allegedly. Now, I admit, we are superior. We have a lot more freedom than a lot of countries. But we're not perfect. We have work to do. We need to get it together. We need to work together. We seem to come together when we get in a fight with another country. You remember 9/11? And how many people were riding around with little flags on the side of their cars? Hell, I was one of them. I had two of those bad boys. I was proud to be an American. And I wanted to show the world that we are the United States of America. And no country is going to invade and destroy our property and take away lives. Not here. Not on our land. No. No. We can't let that happen. Nor should we go into someone else's land that's not harming us and destroy their property and take away lives. We have to lead by example. We need to use our intelligence. And I don't mean surveillance, but our smarts. We are humans. We're supposed to lead by example. If you want to be the badass country in the whole world, we have to say it and live it. We have to live it all the time. You can't deviate. Now, our problem with North Korea is not a new problem. This didn't pop up in the last 6 months, last 6 years. It's been going on for a long time. You remember the Korean War? It was never declared as a war, by the way. It was a Korean conflict between the North and the South. And we were involved. Who won that? Vietnam. Who won that? I don't think it was ever declared a win or lose, either one of them. A lot of men and women died on both sides. But what was the positive income or outcome of either one of those scrimmages? What was the positive effect of World War II or WW1 that my father served in? If my dad was still alive today, he'd be 131 years old. Oh, that's old as hell. He just missed the boat when Moses was sailing, okay? But seriously, these are the kind of thoughts that I have at 2 o'clock in the morning or at 5:30 in the morning when I wake up. These are the thoughts that enter into my mind during the course of the day or when I'm talking to a friend. Simple things like the 3-letter word, why. And that word used to drive me crazy when my kids would ask me repeatedly, why? Dad, why is so and so and so and so? Why? That word is very, very, very deep. It's a powerful word. It'll make you think. When someone asks you, why is that man so crazy? Why is America the greatest country in the world? You have to come up with an explanation. You have to explain what, the details of that question. WHY question mark. Question mark, question mark. It's deep. You're riding down the street and you got your kids in the car. And you point out something on the side of the road. Look, there's a cactus. And kids will go, why? What do you mean, why? There it is. It's a tree. It's a plant. It's out there in the desert. Then, well, what's a cactus? You got to explain it, right? You got to explain to them what a cactus is. Because they're inquisitive. They want to know what it is and why. Why is it there, Dad? Because there's no water, and that's the only place these damn things can grow. They can survive in extreme heat and dryness. You ever thought about how that works? How in the hell can a cactus stay out in the desert 24 hours forever in 110, 120, 130 degree heat and survive? Somehow, it finds moisture in the air and survives. Isn't that amazing? I think it is. And man didn't create that. That's Mama Nature. And we try to duplicate that, we probably would fail. But there's some amazing things that go on in our world. And sometimes we can't answer the question, why? Why do certain people hate certain people? Why do people fall in love? Why do people fall out of love? Why is it so hard to find health care? Why do people die unnecessarily? So as you move along during your day, look around and ask yourself, why are things the way they are? And if it doesn't look so good, think about a solution. Think about how to fix it, how to make it better. What can you contribute in your lifetime to the world as we know it? When you're gone, when you depart this world, what will your legacy be? Have you done anything to help someone? Have you given someone some good advice, support, direction, guidance, love? See, in my mind, your report card is based on what you do on a daily basis. You may never be the president of a company. You may never make $1 million. That's not how you should be judged, based on your income, the color of your skin, but in fact your character. The positive things that you've done to help someone, to help yourself, protect your family, be a decent provider. And it's hard. It's not easy. Trust me. I'm a living witness. We've all had our ups and downs, our trials and tribulations. You may make a few mistakes in life. And I'll say it, it's okay to make a mistake here and there, as long as you don't keep doing the same dumb stuff. When you bump your head, it hurts. You stump your toe, scrape your knee, fall down, break your elbow, it hurts. Now, if you keep doing the same stuff, you're an idiot. So if you make that mistake, whatever it is in life, you must learn from that. You tell your child when it's growing up, little toddler, don't touch that, it's hot. Well, they don't know hot from cold. They don't know yes from no until you keep saying the same thing over and over again, and they eventually know what you're talking about. And they're going to touch something hot. And when you say, that's hot, and they feel that, then they can associate the word with that pain that they just felt, right? Now, some kids are a little more responsive than others. You can tell them, no, don't touch, and they may never touch. And they may never experience the feel of hot until later in life. Sooner or later, you're going to feel heat. You're going to feel cold, and you're going to know the difference. With some people like me, I had to touch it. I want to know what that feels like. And from that point on, didn't touch that hot no more. Whether it was a radiator or a pot on the stove, a candle, whatever it was that was giving off heat that I shouldn't be associated with, don't mess with that. It's hot. It's going to burn you. It's going to hurt. But that's how we learn. That's how we learn good from bad. And you've probably heard many people say, we don't come in this world with hate. That's a learned behavior. We don't come in this world with love. That's a learned behavior. But I think we're instilled with love. We just got to learn to respect it and understand it and project it, share it. I have friends all over the country that I've met in my travels and doing radio from coast to coast, having worked in places like New York twice, consulted radio station in Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington. I've lived and worked in my hometown, Norfolk, Virginia, Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Houston, St. Louis, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles. And I've lived in a few other places that didn't do radio, like Las Vegas. But I got to tell you, in all the places that I've been in, and all the people that I've met, I wouldn't trade it in for nothing in the world. It's a great education, great exposure and experience. You know, the different lifestyles, the cultures, the regional differences, the different formats. I've done them all. Everything but sports. Talk radio, R&B, top 40, rhythmic, which is nothing but top 40 with a little spin on it, jazz, Spanish, hip-hop, country. I've done just about all of them. Helped develop and created the format known today as Urban AC. WBMX in Chicago is the official first station to implement the format, and then it was sold, and the call letters and imaging was changed to V103 as it is today. The second official station in America doing the Urban AC was Magic in Washington, D.C. And if I remember correctly, what was that? 1998? No, 2008. No, it wasn't. It was in 1998. God, how time flies. So the format has survived and evolved from basically an oldie base with very few current music, with the 60s, 70s, early 80s bass, and has evolved over the years because the audience grows older, so the older music drops off. So the old 60s stuff, you don't hear too much of that on the urban AC stations anymore. And it makes sense because the audience grows. So I'm laying out this little journey that I've been on to tell a story. During your life, you have all kinds of experiences. You learn what to do and what not to do. You implement the things that work really well. Things that don't work so well, you drop them off and you move on. But I think looking back on my years in the radio business, the most enjoyable and challenging at the same time were the people that I've met. The people I had an opportunity to work with. Some great talent. Fantastic people. Great imagination. Fun times. Sometimes challenging because we're all individuals, different personalities, different wants, needs, and we come from different backgrounds. But that's what makes it so good, so great, so exciting, because everybody brings something a little different to the table. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. What a great education, exposure, experience. And I often think about people who are not in major positions that I work side by side with. People that had major impacts on my life. They were not my supervisors, bosses, or people who hired me. Some of them were board ops, or technical producers, as I like to call them, engineers, part-time air personalities, full-time air personalities, people that worked in the office. Back in those days, most of the women worked in the traffic department. Usually it was a lady that was doing that. It was some guys too, but typically, a lot of the support staff in the radio stations were females. And many of them I remember like yesterday, because they had an impact on my life. If it was no more than a conversation in the coffee room or standing by the water cooler and exchanging experiences, ideas, learning who their family members were, to see their kids' birthday party pictures. Those are the memories that you store that. And some people say, well, it's just some trivial, conversation in passing. But I respect that. I appreciate that. And those things were important to those people, and they became important to me because they thought, for whatever reason, they wanted to share it with me. So I honored that. Those are the things that I remember, that I cherish. Going to radio conventions and meeting people that you read about in the trade publications. There was no internet back in those days, early on. It was radio trade publications. BRE, Black Radio Exclusive. Jack the Rapper. Radio and Records. The Gavin Report. And many, many others. Billboard. Urban Network. Many, many different trade publications that came and went. Record World. Now I'm dating myself. I saw rating companies come and go. I've seen radio stations and been a part of changing the format and the call letters of radio stations around the country. What a fun job to have. To get paid to be on the radio, play your favorite songs, engage with the audience either through the phone or in personal appearances, MC in concerts. What a job. What a fun thing, to get paid to have fun. And I used to when I became a program director, it used to tickle me that people would come in and complain about little nickel and dime things. And I would say, hey, man, you know what? When I first started, I got paid $1.60 an hour. And I felt guilty receiving that paycheck because I was having fun at it. I didn't give a doggone if they paid me or not. I was on the radio playing top 40 rock and roll and R&B and just having fun. The money was not the driving force for me. It was the passion, the love, and the respect that I had for that person on the radio that was coming out of that little RCA radio on my mother's kitchen table. That was exciting. And when I talked to my radio buddies around the country, we all had that same kind of experience in the beginning. And what's sad is that doesn't exist so much today. The opportunity that I had, that I received, may not exist for those who get the broadcast bug, that want to become a professional broadcaster. Quite frankly, as I listen to radio stations, as I travel around, and even here in Los Angeles, I go, how did that person get on the air? They sound real raw, not professional. Even just reading the liner cards is kind of, it make you go, really? That's the best you got? See, there's no selling, there's no passion, there's no convincing me that this is the baddest ass record on the radio right now. There's a total disconnect between the radio personality and the songs that they play. They don't get excited about it. They're just, reading a liner or just doing something really basic. I don't know, man. It's not engaging. It's not compelling. It's not going to make me come back and listen to your radio station. You sound like every other station in town. What's the damn difference between your station and your direct competitor? You're both playing the same 35 songs. You're both talking about the same amount. You're both carrying the same commercial load. And you're both giving away $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a week, whatever. It's basically the same. The difference should be how you're presenting what you're presenting, having fun with it, convincing your audience that you are the best. This is the radio station in Los Angeles. Not just saying, we're the home of hip hop and R&B. How you say it is important. How often you say it, but more importantly, convince me. Convince me that you are the home of hip hop and R&B. And I'm just using that I'm not picking on anybody. But if you got a competitor that's also doing hip hop and R&B, and they're trying to claim a similar position, well, who's right? Who is that home? Who's playing the best hip hop and R&B? Why are your personalities any different or any better? You're giving away $1,000 an hour, so is the other guy. Why is your money greener? So what's the difference between your stations? You're both boring. Straight up, uncut, unfiltered, boring. Outside of your syndicated morning show, in most cases, and your syndicated afternoon show, and sometimes a syndicated midday show. So you can get in your car and drive across the country listening to the same personality, doing the same crap in every region in this country. I submit to you, because I've worked and lived in every funky four corners of this country, you're missing the essence, the importance, the differences between the Northeast, Southeast, the Midwest, the Southwest, and the Northwest. And if you're a goat, the mountain zone. It's the only zone I never really worked in. But, $10,000, $15,000 a year wasn't cutting it for me. It was just too lowball. There was nothing exciting about Montana in my dreams. That just didn't cut it. Utah, places like that. Oregon, come on. No. So, I'm saying all of this to say one thing. There are differences in everything that we do. I understand and I respect what's going on in the radio business. I understand. I don't necessarily expect what's happening in our government. I think we got a Looney Tune, a guy who is selfish, a narcissist, only looking out for himself, his family, and his other rich friends. And as every day, I watch and listen to the news and I read various news outlets. Things unfold every day. The latest is breaking news today. There is a money trail, as I said yesterday and days before, follow the money. We're now finding out that there have been Russian business people, allegedly part of the Russian mafia, that has bought as many as 5 condos in Trump's properties. It's nothing more than money laundering. You bring in money, dirty money from Russia, drugs, maybe human trafficking, whatever. Wherever they got the money from, they come in and clean it up and buy 5 condos in the same building. Then they can sell those properties and they've got clean money. And you telling me Donald Jackass Trump didn't know what was going down? He didn't care, folks. It's all about the money with this guy. And this goes back 30 freaking years. This is not yesterday. Didn't just pop up in the last 6 months. 30 years, at least. And this has been uncovered by a journalist. I love investigative journalism. I love it. Not enough of it is going on today because the news services are much smaller today. They don't have the resources and the staffing that they once had. I worked in radio stations that had a 5-person news staff. Most radio stations today, especially music stations, don't have 1 person, let alone 5. News at the top and the bottom of the hour. When was the last time you heard that on your favorite music radio station? Thank you, Ronald Reagan. We appreciate that. All right. So what are we going to do? We got a Looney Tune in the White House. He's arguing with another Looney Tune in North Korea. And keep in mind, we still have a problem in Syria. Iran is a problem. The Middle East is still a keg of dynamite. But I guarantee you, we're going to go to war with somebody probably in the next 6 months, maybe a lot sooner. Why? Because we got a guy in the White House, and the money trail, the paper trail, the smoke is turning into fire, and it's getting closer and closer to his crooked ass every day. So the only thing that he can do is to start another war so that we can change our thoughts, our mindset, and the war will become the headlines, and that's all we'll hear. It'll buy him some more time so he can continue to cut deals, dirty deals, to make more money. Now, keep in mind, folks, we still have not seen his tax returns. Why? Because it's going to expose all this dirt. But what I don't understand is why the Internal Revenue is taking so long, assuming that this investigation into his taxes is still going on. I don't understand why we don't have a law that says you cannot be the president of the United States. You cannot run for the presidency unless your taxes are in order. That if you are in an audit, you cannot even register to run for the presidency unless you have a clean financial record. There shouldn't be any question. If you're going to be the leader of the free world. Does that make sense? Am I scratching on the chalkboard right now, just making noise, and it just doesn't make sense? You don't care? I want to keep that that job as something special, unique, and you have to earn it. You can't just want it. You have to be qualified for it. You got to be committed. You got to go in there and make sacrifices. Listen, there are high-powered lawyers that have left their jobs to come in to work with Mueller to be a part of this investigative team. Experts in various areas. See, that's the commitment. That's a compelling reason for doing something like that. You walk away from a million or multi-million-dollar job to come in and serve your country, to go in and find the truth. And if there's a problem, you prosecute. If it's not, at least we found the truth. Now, Donald Trump may come out of this thing unscathed. I doubt it. And the people around him may come out unscathed. I doubt it. Because there's too many questions, and it's going into 50,000 different directions. And as these tentacles reach out, it's touching a lot of people. When something so huge goes into play, it impacts a lot of people. Those nasty tentacles. It's like the World Wide Web. It's all connected. The bankruptcies that Trump has been through, what, 4 of them? Look at the losses, the people who were devastated, maybe even put out of business. Some of the Russian deals and questionable deals that Trump has been involved in, 70 banks had to take it in their shorts because of the shenanigans that this guy's pulled off and the losses. Same thing's going to happen with iHeartMedia. $21 billion in debt. They will never dig out of that hole. Never. Their deal is too rich. They paid too much for the radio stations. They paid themselves too much, the guys at the top. Living the bon vie while cutting the salaries of the people that are doing the day-to-day, while cutting back on the expenditures, deleting departments, scaling down the news, the sales department, the programming department, syndicating bullshit shows, lightweights, non-radio professionals, semi-funny comedians. I said it. I'm a purist when it comes to radio. If you ain't got it in your heart, get the hell out of here. Don't stand in the way for a person who really loves it, who really wants to do it, and not to get in it to pimp it so that you can get another movie deal or another TV deal or a nationwide comedy special. No, don't pimp what I love like that. Not acceptable. And it hurts the young people who want to get into this business. Thank God for the internet. Thank God for the internet. This is where you can get your beginning. Where you can do it from the comfort of your home or an office or from your car. No, that's amazing. It really is. They didn't have that in 1965. You had to go to the radio station, cue up a record, plug in a cartridge into the play-out machine to play the commercials, and you had to time your songs out to reach the top of the hour to meet the network news. And then the local news reporter would follow that in most cases. Real radio. It was work. It was fun. It was exciting. It was engaging. You had to put some effort into it. You had to do show prep. There was no internet to go in and look up stories. It was newspapers, magazines, and the teletype machines. You had to come in hours before your show. Yeah, we had TV and we had radio, but we didn't have this. Didn't exist. Closest thing to this, the smartphone, was a transistor radio that you could hold in your hand. Had a little mono speaker and one earbud. AM. Some of them were AM and FM. They came along a little bit later. But there was no good, compelling programming on FM. I remember the first top 40 FM station that showed up in Norfolk, Virginia. It was called The Q. And it was amazing. I was working at an AM top 40 station, WNOR, the Big 1230. And The Q came into town. Everybody was freaking out. Oh, my God, it sounds so good. It's in stereo and all of that. But guess what? The AM dial still had 85% of the radio listeners. And it took a while for Q and other stations to really cut into the listenership of the AM stations. It took a while. It didn't just happen overnight. Wasn't an instant hit. But I remember that like it was yesterday. It was a little scary because we were all saying, wow, you can drive for 25, 30 miles and you can still hear that station. In 15 miles, we're out. Oh, my God. But wasn't nothing out there anyway but trees and swamp and the ocean and the rivers and the lakes. Because the majority of the people lived in towards the inner city. So it gave AM a little bit more life. But eventually, that light bulb burned out. And FM took over. And in the beginning, there was no spoken word or talk radio on FM. That has evolved over the years. Now you got stations that are simulcasting, both on the AM and FM, and now in HD. So things evolve. They change. They grow up. Sometimes they grow down. They get deleted. Probably in 10, 15 years, there'll be no more AM band. The government might take it back, and I think that's what they're working towards, and use it for other purposes. Maybe for the military, maybe for other types of communication. May not have any spoken word or music on it at all. And eventually the same thing with FM. There are some countries that don't have AM and FM stations anymore. It's all digital. The United States is a little behind on that. Will we be listening to HD, high definition radio? I'm not sure that that's really going to be a hit. I remember AM stereo. You remember that? Back in the 70s, it was a big deal. You bought a car and it had a AM stereo radio. I remember I worked at 1580 K-Day. It was broadcasting in stereo. But I think there was, if I remember correctly, it was two flavors of AM stereo. And the two developers of the way of doing it were fighting as to who was going to be the big dog in that. I don't think they even make AM stereo radios anymore. I don't know that anyone is even broadcasting in AM stereo anymore. So that went and it's gone. You remember the quad stereo, 4 channels? You had to sit in the middle of the room to really get the effect. It wasn't really that good. That died. 8-track tapes, cassettes, CDs. Ooh, hasn't been that long ago. CDs. My car, I bought a 2016 Chevy Malibu. It does not have a CD player in it. And I didn't realize that until I went to a radio conference up in Sacramento. with Jay King, and somebody gave me a CD to play. I said, man, I'm going to listen to it on the way back to L.A. I'm driving down. It'll take me a few hours to get there. I'm going to listen to your CD. When I got in the car, I'm going, where's the hole? Hold up. Where's the damn CD? It does not exist. There's no cassette. There's no CD. There's no changer in the trunk where you can load up 6, 8, 10 CDs. None of that. It's gone. Bye-bye. Satellite radio, AM and FM. Auxiliary input that you can plug into your phone and get stuff off of the internet. See how things change? Through technology, development of new ways of doing stuff, the world is constantly changing. But, see, now here's how I tie it right back into kind of what I started out with. Why? That word why, W-H-Y, are we still living with the same Constitution after all of these years? And I just painted a little story, kind of my personal life in radio, but it all comes back to why. Why did I go from Norfolk, Virginia to St. Louis, from St. Louis to Atlanta, from Atlanta to New York to San Francisco, and on and on and on and on? Because there were opportunities there. I was doing some good radio. I was in high demand. People were offering me more money. But why are we living by the same standards that Thomas Jefferson and the gang put together hundreds of years ago? You're telling me that they were so smart that they could see what would be happening in 2017? Why? Think about it. Now, I've been talking to you for about an hour. I'm going to go to Facebook and I'm going to look at some of your comments if there are some there. By the way, if you'd like to call in and engage in a little conversation, a little yin and yang, 424-227-9461. 424-227-9461 is the number to call in on. Be happy to take your call. Open up Facebook. The first thing I see is one of my old DJ buddies that I put on the radio back in the 80s at WBMX. Farley Jackmaster Funk. Godfather. House music. He's doing a live broadcast right now. All right, so let me go to my page. All right. Got a few comments here. Let's look at them. What's up, Dave Johnson? Val Young. Morning to you, too. Eddie Levert Jr. What's up, Eddie? Man, when you coming to L.A. again? R. Michael Douglas, good morning to you. He says, amen, Lee. Shama. Yep. Darius. Yeah, remember Record World? Laura Rice and Donald Andrew Grammer is in the house. Go check out his website. It's called Smooth Mixes 925. And those are numbers 925. Smooth Mixes 925. What's up, Donald? So, maybe some of you haven't been here since the beginning of the show and kind of following along with my little, started up in my monologue. But it was all centered around the word why. Why do you do certain things that you do? Why do we fight with certain people? Why do you go to this school and not that school? Why did you take that job and not this job? Why did you marry that person and not the other one? See, that why word is powerful. It'll make you scratch your head, stump your toe, and do a lot of things that you don't understand. But it's okay. 424-227-9461. Lines are open. If you want to chat or you got some things to talk about that I haven't touched on, that's fine too. Uber's first employee, Ryan Garvins, to step down. Why? See? Why, Dave Johnson? If you can, call in and let's talk about that. I haven't seen that story. 424-227-9461. Maybe I'll put that number up on the screen here. Okay, where is it? Why is it not showing up? That's weird. 424-227-9461. 424-227-9461. Yeah, we got the lines up. Not working 100%, but at least we can get your call on. How's that? All right, so come on in. Let's chop it up. All right, let me get the phone number up on the screen here. Remove that. Add it again. Four 227-9461. 424-227-9461. You. All right, let's put that in memory. Bam. Boy, those are some big numbers. Okay. Let's bring that up. Oops. Doing things while I'm talking here. Coming up today, after this show, today is Thursday, so it's going to be, there's a number. I'll put it right on my chest. How's that? Put the number on my chest. I'm Superman today. 424-227-9461. That's the call-in number. If you want to be a part of the show, you got something you want to talk about, bring it. Carol's out playing hooky today, so is Chris Bass, Alfo, Apollo, Little Frankie. Everybody's playing. They must be out on a picnic all together. Didn't tell me. I didn't get the memo, okay? I didn't get the text message. Nobody gave me a tweet about not being here today. So they're probably out on the beach having fun, stuck the old man behind to do the show all alone. But that's okay. I can do it. I don't have a problem with that. I can sit here and talk for 5 hours. I'll do it. I have done it. To some of you fellow radio people out there, have you ever got snowed into the radio station or some other catastrophic weather condition that nobody could get in and relieve you? I did a 17-hour run one time. Yep, 17 non-stop hours, all alone in the radio station. I spent all my money getting candy and potato chips out of the vending machine. It ran out of coffee. Nobody could get to me, and I couldn't get out. But it was an experience. Survived it. And it's another one of those things in the old memory bank that I'll cherish, really. I remember that day. I was in Virginia. And if I remember correctly, it was like a hurricane or storm, real bad storm. Nobody could get in or out. So I stuck it out. It was fun. Got a little scary after you eat up you run out of money, so you can't get any more candy and stuff out of the machine. And they would only put out so much coffee. Just so once you drink up all the coffee, what do? You have to keep on trucking, keep on making it happen. And eventually, that too will change. And it did. I didn't die in the radio station or anything like that. It was another experience. I remember one time I was at WBLS in New York, and we brought in Doug Banks to do the morning show. And the way we launched it was through a promotion where we had him on the air for 24 hours. And the creative sales department got different clients to participate and sponsor the whole thing. I don't remember the company name, but they provided a mattress, and we laid this mattress down in one of the production rooms. So in between songs, he could go in there and lay down and take pictures, but he never went to sleep. And he did the 24-hour thing, and then every hour or sometimes twice an hour, a different recording artist would come in. I remember Luther Vandross came in and hung out, and Gerald Levert, and many other artists that were popular during that 90s period. It was a lot of fun. And Doug, in his own Doug Banks way, put his spin on it, and only Doug could do. What a fine broadcaster, and my buddy. I miss him a lot, think about him every day. Guy I had the opportunity to work with, 3 or 4 times? Hired him 3 times, twice in Chicago and once in St. Louis. And I remember when I was at K-Day, 1580 K-Day. Jim Maddox was the program director at K-Day at the time, and he had gotten this audition tape of Doug Banks, and he played it for the gang there, all of us at the station, and say, what do you think? And at the time, Doug was 18. And he says, well, what do you think, Lee? I said, well, Jim, talented guy, but I don't think you should bring him to L.A. yet. He says, why? I said, because he's too young. L.A. will get in this guy's head and destroy him, confuse him. This is Los Angeles, man. It's not, Hoboken, New Jersey, Mobile, Alabama. Now, Doug did radio up in Detroit, and that was his first job. But he really didn't have a lot of experience, but he was great sounding, great air presence and everything. But I was afraid that bringing him from Detroit to L.A. might have been dangerous. This is a tough town. It's like going to New York, and he had only been in the business for, a year or two. It's very different. But anyway, I left the station, and at some point, I don't know if it was right away or whatever, they did bring Doug in. And Doug was an overnight success. I mean, like, bam, blew up. Everybody loved DB. Had a big audience. Now, Doug left. I don't remember the reason why. But they brought me back to the station. And I got his time slot, afternoon drive. Let me tell you something. I would never follow this guy on the radio, ever. His audience was so loyal. They loved him so much. They were brutal to me on the request lines. I heard every curse word known to man. They wanted their DB back. They loved Doug Banks. And I shared that story with him after I hired him later in St. Louis. And he says, oh, man, I didn't realize it was like that. I said, yeah, man, your audience was like, whew. I'd never been cursed out and told where to go ever. I followed a lot of great personalities, but Lord have mercy, that was brutal. So I made it a point never to follow Doug Banks, ever. Looks like we got CB, not DB, but CB, meaning Chris Bass on the line. Hey, Chris.
Hey, boom shakalaka. How you doing, man?
I'm rocking and rolling. How about you?
I'm good. I'm better.
Well, that's good, man, because I was getting ready to send the FBI over to do a little investigation to make sure you were cool in the gang.
Don't do that, sir. No.
No? Not necessary?
No FBI, no Men in Black. We got black men in the neighborhood already, so no, sir.
And they don't have on black suits, right?
No, please. We're all black right here. All of us in this neighborhood.
That's
in
all
fact,
good.
we're bronze, as in brown, so we're all brown.
Oh, okay, cool in the gang.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, I've been sitting here by myself. Carol didn't show up. You didn't show up. Frankie didn't show up. Apollo didn't show up. Alpha, no show. So I just did me.
Well, you do you very well. I remember listening to the show yesterday, and when Alpha was on, Alpha damn near checked out.
Yeah, man.
That cough, man, scared the hell out of me.
It scared me too. You know what? But Carol's ready to give him mouth to mouth. I was impressed.
I caught that. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Are you all right? You need that oxygen? I'll give you mouth to mouth, baby.
Yeah. That was pretty comical.
That was.
Yeah. She's a piece of work. But yeah, man, I've just been sitting here, kind of telling a story. Started the show, opened up talking about the crazy comment that Kirshner said about
Yeah.
In that, he wasn't qualified. Well, he's right in that, but isn't that the kettle calling the pot black? What makes you qualified to be the chief advisor to the president? I tell you, you're married to his daughter. It's the only reason you're there.
Absolutely.
What the hell you know about politics and going to advise the president of the United States? Give me a freaking break.
Well, the question you had earlier was the word of why.
Right.
And I think I have the answer. It's because we can. We all have free will. Mm-hmm. And we do what we want to do with it, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And we don't worry about the obstacles or whatever's supposed to come down the line as far as us being correct is concerned. Right. We do it because we can. That's why we do it.
Not because it's right, not because it's in the best interest of America, not because of anything, but I can, and because I'm here and I'm in power and I'm the man. I'm 45 and that's boom.
Right. But think about it. If we lived in a nation where if you did something wrong, well, it's law, but I'm talking about law will say a million times stricter, and you're monitored, of course, with today's technology, and you're caught doing wrong, you are immediately put in the jail for 30 days. And you're like, damn, now, goddamn it, wait a minute now. I was getting ready to get some tonight. And I'm in jail for 30 days straight. Right. So if we had the mentality that we had parameters that said that what we did was wrong, we would get 30 days in jail or whatever the like is, whatever the law would be, we would straighten up and fly right. But because we don't have that, and because we don't have common sense, because it's not common anymore, we're able to do what we want to do because of the whole thing about having free will. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And we abuse that privilege because it exists. Doesn't mean you have to push that button. Doesn't mean you have to bring it into play. You can let's just let it sit there. You use it if you really have to. But, our president seems to, push everything to the wall, to the limit, right up to, if not going over the line, more often than not. As the story unveils today, that he has been doing business with criminal Russians for over 30 years. Did you see that story?
Yeah, I caught that. How he's doing the money laundering thing through these businesses from that the Russians were buying up in Miami, something like that.
Yeah. He sold 5 condos to one guy in the same building, a Russian investor.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah, 5 condos. Now, why in the hell do you need 5 condos? Because you're laundering money. You're going to sit on them, let the price increase, and then you're going to flip them. Now you got clean American cash.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the money, as I was saying yesterday, follow the money. Follow the money. Where are your taxes? Internal Revenue, release all of the information that you have on this clown. And why is it that a person can run for the presidency and still be on an audit? That should be a rule or a law that you cannot even register to run for the presidency unless your taxes are in order. And yes, they should be public records. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right, and a lot of people are right. But once again, the government, and especially in 45 situation, he believes that whatever I say goes. You're going to fall for the okie doke. You're not going to question me. If you do question me, how dare you question the great and powerful orange? So that becomes another argument through him and his so-called cabinet. Yeah. And another thing about it, his cabinet should have been filled by now. Most presidentials coming into office had their cabinets filled positions-wise because he can't do it.
Well, who wants to work for him, number one? And
exactly.
Then your transitional team that's supposed to be in charge of those kind of things, setting up, people who are qualified to be reviewed, go through the due diligence. Some of those positions have to go before Senate hearings and clearings and all of that. You got to have that shit in order, man. But I think the biggest problem is who, with any credibility, wants to be associated with a person that's got big red neon LED flashing question marks all around him and everybody associated with him, including family members. I mean, would you?
Hell nope.
Chris Bass, Donald Trump wants you to be in his communication department. They're going to pay you $175,000 a year. They're going to move you to Washington, D.C. at the government's expense.
Nah.
You lying dog. You know you'll take that job. You might not last for 27 minutes, but you know you're going to take that job.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'll sit here and think about it, but I only have one immortal soul now. I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean.
But see, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it goes back to free will like I was talking about.
Yeah. You got to have some scruples and a limit to where you're going to go. Okay, let's assume that everybody's a whore and everybody has a price. Is $175,000 and all moving expenses covered your number?
Nope.
Come on. You're going to work with the President of the United States of America, the most powerful man in the world. You're going to pass on that opportunity, Chris Bass?
Dude, I never had that check, so I can't miss it.
Good man, Charlie Brown. Good man.
Oh, man. Well, it's almost similar to when I used to work at WLS here in Chicago, ABC affiliate. And as you know, talking about talk radio earlier, it's always consumed by conservatives.
Right.
And so I remember my boss, in fact, you know him, Zamira Jones.
Great man.
Had said to me, great man, but he suggested to me that maybe I should change my act.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it because I'm not conservative. Now, I could do the conservative book all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But someone told me don't do it. I'm not knocking what Zamira was trying to hint at me. But
well, he was simply saying, in order for me to allow you or to put you on the air, you got to fit in this mold. The mold is what we're trying to do here is to be conservative. We can't have 27 conservative shows and one liberal. It's like a wheel that rolls around. It's got a flat side to it. Every time it gets to that flat side, it's going to stop. Then you got to get behind it, push it harder to get it rolling again. So, and listen, Zamira Jones is not a conservative. So it wasn't like he believed in the ideology.
Right.
But that was the job at hand, and that's what that station was.
Right.
And that's what corporate wanted it to be. So
I understand.
Yeah.
He had a job to do. I get that.
Yeah. But I had the opportunity to work with him at Radio 1. He was my direct supervisor. And, in fact, when I was working at WBMX the second time around, when Joe Dorton was in the process of buying it, we approached Zamira Jones to come in to be, he was either national sales manager or local sales manager. He was working in D.C. at that time. And smart man, he turned the job down and didn't take it. And as it turns out, the station ended up in the hands of a different operator, Barry Mayo and his company. Forget what it was called.
That was the Broadcasting Partners, something like that.
Yeah, that's what it was. So they ended up being the owners, and my contract dictated that regardless of who owned the station, my contract had to be paid, and or something had to be worked out. They asked me to take a salary cut. I said, nope. Nope. I ain't going to do it.
Nope.
No, why? I got a damn contract. Either you or Egmont Solomon is going to pay me. If you don't want me to stay here, you want me to take a shave? No, I'm not doing that. So they had to pay me off, and I went out and bought a yacht and took a sabbatical for a year or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like it when people try to shortchange you, man. It just gets on my nerve.
Yeah. Well, that was a way of saying, hey, I don't want you to work for me, so you take a salary cut, then I'll tolerate you. No, dog. Now read the contract. I don't have to.
I don't have to, man.
And I don't need this job no more. Take this job and shove it.
Right.
Shove it.
I ain't working here no more, man.
Put a little grease on it so it don't hurt so bad when you're shoving it. But I ain't going to do it.
You talking about joboing.
That's right.
I listened to you earlier talking about Doug, and some of the fond memories I've had knowing him was when I was a tech producer back at LS. Mm-hmm. And people who are listening, when I wasn't on the air, I was running the control board overnight at the radio station. Yep. And so that's how I met Doug, because Doug would come into town and do the show from our backup studios next door, from control room A, and he was in control room B. And so I always knew it was summertime because he always wore a T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. That was his attire.
That's him.
Now, you knew it was summertime when Doug dressed like that. It didn't matter.
I hired him in St. Louis, first time I hired him. Picked him up at the airport. Doug Banks had on a T-shirt, shorts, flip-flops, and a grocery bag with his clothes in it. So we go to the baggage claim. I said, how many bags you got, buddy? Oh, no, this is it. I said, what? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm traveling light. He says, I got my stuff. It'll be shipped here. I went, oh, okay. So I think he had a couple pair of underwear and a couple more, T-shirts in this grocery bag. Paper. Rolled up at the top.
Not even paper or plastic, just paper.
No, paper. The original grocery bag.
Right. Paper.
So,
oh, my God.
Yeah. So that was Doug, man. He was a simple man. He wasn't very complex until he started making millions of dollars. Then his attire changed a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And he finally met Wendy, his wife, and I think she was a major influence on him as well. Thank God for Wendy.
Man. He was still doing the flip-flops at one point.
Yeah,
because I remember I would buzz him into the station, and he did a Forrest Gump on me. And what I mean by that is, it was summertime. I had on some gym shoes. He said, sir, I bet those shoes are comfortable. And I'm like, they are. Comfort, sir, comfort.
That was DB. Funny guy.
Yeah, it was an honor knowing that dude, man.
Tell me about it.
Well, first. I mean, look, you're the one brought him here to Chicago, and had it not been for you, we never would have known him. And what I used to love about the fact that when I got into radio myself, a lot of us were trying to be Doug. Doug was our David Letterman. That's the best way I can put it.
Wow.
And he was just that. I mean, the bar was so high, we knew we couldn't get there, but at least we can try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was definitely that type of air personality. He had his own style. There was no other DB. He had his own little magic, and I saw that in him. That's why I kept hiring him. He was one of those guys that come in and he could hit the ball and make your station grow. And I knew that he was going to be a hit in Chicago. I could just feel it. I thought he was the right flavor, the right pick. It was different. He had a top 40 slash R&B feel to his whole air game. And that's why I put him on in New York. Well, actually, I hired him 4 times. I forgot about that. Put his syndicated show on at WBLS. So BLS, twice at BMX. Wow, wait a minute. Then I hired him at GCI. And I hired him in St. Louis. So damn, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times I hired him. I've forgotten about a couple of them.
Yeah, good man.
Right. Wow. So, that's real talent. That's why I kept going back to him as a true player and putting him on the team. I don't think I hired anybody else that many times. Hired Lawrence Gregory Jones twice. Maybe no, just once at BMX. Or was it twice? Did he go to GCI first? I forget now. I think no. It may have been a couple times. I have to call Lawrence. I haven't talked to him in a while. Marco Spoon. Your spoon, serving it up.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
One for
Marco
the big
Spoon.
scoop, baby. Yeah, you remember him?
Of course, man. Look, GCI, I can still remember the lineup like it was yesterday. When they had Banks and Company, then they had Yvonne Daniels in middays. The Fly Jock Horse during afternoons.
Yep.
Marco Spoon. And then at one point, it was either Chili Charles or Irene Mojica.
Yep. They all did that 7 to midnight slot.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was the lineup, man.
Do you remember, what was his name? When I first came to GCI in 79, late 79, Evan Luck. You remember Evan?
Yeah, I never heard his work. I remember seeing his name up on the ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I never heard his work.
Yeah, Evan Luck was on at night. He's down in Costa Rica. Last time I talked to him, and he's kind of a beach bum down there. He went down there and stayed, doing live broadcasts from the beach.
Hey, that'll do it from the beach.
From the
Son
beach,
of a
baby.
beach.
Son of a beach.
Right.
Yeah, Irene, of course, I worked with her, and Yvonne Daniels. So funny. Yvonne was doing midday at one point, and I was a program director. And it's funny because when I was working down in St. Louis at KATZ, we used to listen to her on WLS at night. We'd go out to the edges of St. Louis, and WLS would just come in like a local station. And we'd sit in the car and listen to Yvonne. One night we called her up on the request line. I got a chance to talk with her and request a song. Of course, they never played it. But, we were just radio geeks. And I got such a charge out of calling WLS and actually got through to Yvonne Daniels. And I shared that story with her. Of course, she didn't remember some yo-yo from St. Louis calling up, but that was a highlight to me, because we really admired her air work. And it was great that, this African-American woman who was working at a top 40 station in Chicago and sounding really good. It was exciting, really exciting.
I almost failed my final because we get a heads up of who's going to speak in certain radio classes. This last minute poster came up in the hallway. Yvonne Daniels going to speak at one of these radio courses. You go invite everybody, right? Especially radio people. I had a final, and my grade's not that good. I needed the final to pass. So I was like, come on, man, we're going to be Yvonne. I said, no, dude, man, I'll be in the spirit, man. If I'll take this class, man, my ass will be outside.
Yeah, and your mother was a principal, right?
That's right. Yes, kick my ass. No No
Yep.
dice.
No dice. You had no way out.
Nope. I love you, Yvonne Daniels, but goddamn it, ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Her dad was a jazz artist, right?
Yeah. Billy Daniels.
Billy Daniels.
That's right.
Yeah. So she comes from a musical stock.
Exactly.
Yep. What was Marv Dyson's brother name? He did news over there. Lon, right?
Lon Dyson.
Lon Dyson. Yeah. I met him one time. Didn't really get a chance to know him. But Marv Dyson was the general manager the second time I worked there. He's the guy that brought me over from WBMX.
Oh, okay.
And the first guy, who was the general manager before him? Do you remember?
Not offhand, no.
Okay, do some homework.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just remember. Well, thank you, thank you, Mr. Michaels. I'll get right on it.
Yeah, do some research.
Okay.
He's also a radio legend
Now this
I
is
don't know
where
if
at GM where at now?
at WGCI.
At GCI.
Yep, at the time it was owned by Globetrotter.
Oh, okay. When did Connect come into play?
When?
When?
Yeah, well, Globetrotter sold it to Gannett, I want to say in sometime in the 80s, early 80s, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Became Gannett.
Well, we've had Marv on the show, and I'm glad he, in his own irreverent way, admitted that he started this little mini war between the both of us. I do use the word mini very strongly when him and I worked together at WKKC, and I mentioned how he started the whole thing about calling me a fat motherfucker. That was the exact quote from Marv Dyson.
He didn't call you that.
Quote.
You're making
he
that
did.
up. No, he didn't
No, sir.
call you that.
No. Yes, he did.
And did you slap his little ass around?
Yeah, I told him. Look, I said we were doing a remote from the African Fest in Washington Park. So we were on our way there. We were in the truck, and I told the driver, KB, to get a booster seat so Marv can sit in.
He heard you
Because
say
his
that?
feet dangling and stuff. Huh?
He heard you say that?
Yeah, I said. Yeah, I made it loud and clear.
And that's when he called you a fat MF?
He called me a fat motherfucker before that. So he started the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of, he's like that. Marv will,
Oh, I know. You don't have to tell me. I know.
he serves up some crazy sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we used to go back and forth. People would tell you that, we used to when we used to work together. I would go see where I come from. You fight back. Now you start with me first, and I got to go in on you. So that's why we used to go back and forth.
Yep.
Hi, Chris. I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. I mean, stuff like, who says that? I'm like, dude, if you're not careful,
I said, but now, Marv, you're gonna have to get back about 100 yards, run real
and
fast,
jump up,
and jump on this step ladder, and then slap me.
Right?
Because you ain't gonna make it, brother.
Go ahead.
I remember one time he came to the radio station. We were on Michigan Avenue. And he came in, I don't know if it was a Halloween thing that we were doing, but he came in dressed up like a cowboy in all black. Black gun, black hat, black shirt, black jeans, the black cowboy boots, the whole thing.
That had to scare the hell out of you because he's black himself in complexion.
Say, hey, Marv, who are you? I'm Black Bart. We're Black Bart.
Stupid.
Black Bart. I would say, okay, Black Bart. I said, but
Stupid.
Black Bart was about 6'5". You were like 4'4".
Right. You were 4x4. Right?
4x4. He was funny. You know what? I got to give you.
Yeah.
Marv had a sense of humor. A little
Yes, he
weird,
did.
but
Yes,
he
he
had a
still
sense
does,
of
yeah.
humor.
Right, correct.
Yep, he did. Yep, he still does. Even at 90 years old. How old do you
He's
think? Marv
90?
is? No, I don't think
Jeez.
he's probably in his 80s.
He's probably approaching. I mean, he's around into his 80s, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to be early 80s, I'm guessing. Yeah, let's see. Dave Johnson knows every damn thing, but he don't. He think he does. So Dave, how old is Marv Dyson? He came
Now,
in. You
Dave
remember the
typed
one?
in.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dave typed in Carl Connors. Does that ring a bell?
No, Carl was the program director.
Oh,
Wasn't
okay.
the GM. Nope. Try again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You hear noise in the background. My nephew's here, which is scary. He just turned 6 recently, and this is the second time now. My sister and her husband purchased him for his birthday a microphone and a drum set. And I figured, why the hell did you give him that? Well, no, all you gonna do is tell him to shut the hell up.
Right.
All the time. It's just a waste of thing, So he got that, and then he recently went to the dollar store with my mom and got another microphone. So, dude, this is getting kind of scary for me, man. We might have another a talk head on the radio.
All right. That's exciting.
Yeah,
Bring
I'm
him
scared.
on. Let him play. Boom,
Yeah,
shakalaka.
He went and got another microphone. I'm like, dude, he ever broken the one you got for your birthday?
That's good. How old is he? Yeah.
He's 6.
6 years old. Well, you never know. He might be the future drummer or future air personality or the president of the United States. You just don't know.
You never know.
Give him that exposure. Don't hold him back.
Oh, no, I just, it's like you have deja vu all over again because I got on the radio when I was 5. And, I would, write down stories and create radio plays. And then outside of that, I would, listen to whoever was on during that time and just feel this instant connection to it. So when he does stuff like that, I'm like, man, that's very freaky. I'll support him, of course. This is just very freaky at the same time.
Of course. Yeah, I'll never forget when I was broadcasting. Before I got into commercial radio, I had a little setup in my bedroom at home. I'm like 15.
Yeah, you mentioned about that.
And my sister I had a microphone in the bathroom, the hall bathroom. And it was kind of a large size bathroom. Like you go in the bathroom, you get that echo effect, that hollow sound. I was trying to get that reverb, So she would go in there and do the news, sitting on the toilet, reading the news from the newspaper. My sister B, Miss B. So she was my news director. My other sister, Margaret, she didn't want to have nothing to do with it. She was kind of shy, but, she thought I was crazy. She said, Mom, you need to have him committed. That boy is nuts. He's in that room all the time playing that damn music all loud and everything. Tell him to turn that thing down.
It's funny you mentioned about news. Caleb yesterday, mind you, he got this microphone, right? And my mom got a little token gift from Time magazine, little, a clock. He holds the clock in the left hand, has the mic in the right hand, looks at the clock and says, it's 4:37. News report, 2 men got shot and killed. That is all.
Yeah. Wow.
Man, and I'm like, okay, because he watches the news, the WLS TV here, Channel 7, ABC affiliate, what he calls the blue news, because everything's blue. That's their main color. So he does watch the news.
Right.
It was just funny to see him report it. Especially about 2 men getting killed and shot, and they're dead, and that's it. Yeah, man.
That's called quick news. Straight to the point.
Quick.
Cut through the chase.
Very quick.
All right, Dave Johnson here. See, now I got to argue with Dave again. Dave is saying that Carl was not the program director. Walt Love was. You're right and you're wrong. Walt Love was at one point in time, the program director of WVON. Carl was the program director in 79, 80, maybe as far as 81. So, yes, Walt was, for a very short period of time, by the way. But, yeah, Carl Connor, God rest his soul, peace be with you, my brother, was the program director of WVON/GCI AM. It eventually became when I was there in 79-80. Then I went over to WBMX after that. So, yeah, you're right, but you're in the wrong era, wrong time frame from what we were talking about. Walt Baby Love. I haven't seen Walt or talked with him in a long time. He's here in L.A. I got to look Walt up. We haven't talked in a long time. So I do recall Marv Dyson being at WJPC. He was in sales, you're right, in the 70s. That is 100% correct. WGRT, before it was JPC. Now, who was the program director during the time when Marv was there when it was GRT? Mr. Radio Man.
Mm-hmm. Who'll answer that?
Mm-hmm. Before Tom Joyner. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. See what you know now.
Oh, man.
Don Cody, welcome to the show. See, you just checked in. We're talking radio here, Don. Chicago radio. I got Dave Johnson, Mr. Chicago radio historian, asking questions, going back and forth. I'm old, but I ain't lost all my mind yet. I remember a lot of this stuff. Let's see, what is he saying now? WJPC what? Oops, where'd it go? Junior Johnson or Richard Steele? J.J. Johnson or Richard Steele. Well, I don't remember J.J. Johnson being the PD. He may have. And Richard Steele was, I believe. But before all of them, they both worked with this PD that I'm speaking of. And that's where I met this guy who was the PD. He was the PD at GRT at the time. And I was working in St. Louis, and I went up to Chicago to hang out, basically, and went by the radio station, met this guy who was the PD at the time. No, not Jerry Boulding. Jerry was the PD there. Don Jerry. No, nope. Keep guessing. See, he's going to guess his way into it, maybe.
Yeah, keep on guessing, Dave.
Yeah, right. And went up there to hang out in Chicago because I'd never been there before at that point. And I went by JPC or GRT, and I met the PD there. Got a little station tour, nice, impressive, on Michigan Avenue. And then I went by WVON, and the Godfather was the program director over there. Who am I speaking of? Mm-hmm. Godfather. All right, I'll tell you. You could probably don't know nothing about that, Mr. Smarty Pants. Give you a hint, Don Cody, as to who the program director was that I'm speaking of. Let's see. He, at one point, was a vice president of a record label after the time that I'm speaking of. He also worked in Washington, D.C. at Magic. Mm-hmm. Scratching their heads. I hear crickets. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you probably wouldn't know either, Chris. We're talking 75, 76.
Man,
I
was in school time with an afro that time. I was in grammar school, man.
I had one, too.
I've seen the pictures, yeah.
I had hair. Keyword hair.
Yeah.
Now I got head. Forehead.
Right.
It's trying to meet the back of my head.
Oh, man.
Look kind of bozo-ish.
Not a reverse bozo, man.
Yeah. The question again was he the program of WJPC? Well, yes. I don't know if he was there when it converted to JPC. He was a program director when it was GRT. And there may have been several under that call letter as well. I don't recall. Okay, Don Cody, you asking for initials. ST. Damn. Let's see. Richard Steele was program director at JPC in 75. Guaranteed. Well, maybe. But I was up there in 70. Now, wait a minute. It may have been 73 or 74 when I met this man. And he's from New York. Crickets? No, it was not 75. Richard Steele may have been the PD in 75. I went up there and it was either 73 or 74. E. Rodney Jones was the program director at VON. Mm-hmm. He was known as the Godfather. Dave, you're not old enough. You don't know.
Well, I know the history. One of the good guys.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about Dave.
Oh, Dave. Well, Dave had pulled stuff out of his ass.
Yeah. They just turned to JPC in 75. Yeah, that could be. Don Cody, you don't know? You got to know this one. He was a vice president of R&B promotions at Polydor, if I remember correctly. Yeah, ST. He also programmed WWRL. He also programmed in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I can't believe you guys are stumped on this one.
You're not giving the answer, man.
Yeah, I ain't giving them nothing. Go do your homework.
You a hard bastard.
That's right. You're in this.
I ain't giving them nothing.
The Lee Baby Michaels School of Broadcasting. You got to know your history.
Now get out of my class.
That's right. Go read your books. Leroy Phillips, just kidding. Yeah, right. Leroy was a local promotion guy in Chicago. I remember Leroy. Yep. No, this guy was based. Where was he based out of? Was it L.A. or New York? One or the other. Very successful programmer. You guys don't know. You guess it.
Yeah, you're taking too long.
Yeah, they are. I got to get some real radio people in here. You guys are messing around. Don Cody.
A couple of chicken shits.
Don Cody, you may not know this. You were a kid in 73. How old were you in 73, Don? 73 or 74? That's when I met your sister. Sonny Taylor, Don Cody, you win. Bam, 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 bam. All right. You win, man. How'd you figure it out? You must have called somebody.
He just need a lifeline.
Yeah. Yep, he did. He called somebody. See, Dave Johnson, you didn't know that funny. One, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I know Dave's pissed.
Yeah, he's stressed out.
Right.
I actually knew his name, but couldn't think of it. Couldn't bring it up. Right now, I guess there was okay. Back in 78, 79. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Seymour. The radio station on the weekends. I was 13, 14 years old. Yeah, no. Oh, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, those are some fun times. When I went up to Chicago to visit those two stations, I was working at WBMX. Now, the guy that went up there with me, his name was Chris Hall. Who his brother was one of the members of the Blackbirds. Remember the Blackbirds doing it in the park?
Oh yeah,
Rock Creek Park. So he was a member of that group, and Chris worked with me down in St. Louis. So Chris knew Sonny Taylor. So he says, "Hey man, let's go up to Chicago, and I'll introduce you to Sonny Taylor, and we'll go hang out in Chicago for a day or so. So we did that. And that's how I met Sonny Taylor.
Cool.
Speaking of Walt Love, that's one talking about? What do you mean? Super
That's
Sugar.
right. Typed
That's
too
right.
quick.
Super Sugar Chris. That's what he went by. Super Sugar Chris.
Super
KATC. Yep. Super Chris. Yeah, we had characters, man. Characters. You remember J.B. Stone in the morning at KATZ and Johnny Jones midday, and I was doing afternoons. Then Chris Hall came in, and then there was also a Larry O'Day. Larry O'J. Was it O'Day? No, O'Day. Larry O'Day. He was from Chicago. Crazy mofo. Lord have mercy. And I remember when the Pointer Sisters came into town to perform, he went and met them and actually dated Anita Pointer for a minute. You talk about a crazy dude. Oh, my God. And I saw.
Was he trying to handle her? I mean, that's a lot of baggage, man.
No, she was. They were much younger at that time, and
Oh, okay, good.
yeah, and they met and dated for a minute. And I asked her about him when I saw her 6 months or so ago. No, I saw her a month or so ago. Carol and Anita are very, very close. So we went up to her house one day. Beautiful home. She didn't let me in, so I can't go any further than the driveway. You might rob me or something. I said, no, baby, I'm not that guy. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, she's a very, very nice, lovely person, and I'll probably go hang out with her from time to time. But I always admired the Pointer Sisters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, June, Anita, and Bonnie, and Ruth.
All right, it was 4 of them at one point.
Ruth, Anita, Bonnie, what was the other one? Dang.
Said June, right?
June, that's right, June. Yeah, I think June was the youngest one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was either June or Bonnie. Not Bobby O.J., no. Now, Bobby O.J. was in Chicago. I don't think Bobby ever worked in St. Louis. Yeah, Sonny Taylor, he was actually on the air personality also. Yeah, he did radio. He did yeah, Kevin Tony was Super Sugar Chris's brother. That's right. And Chris's real name was Saul Tony.
Oh, no wonder he changed it.
Yeah. Right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Johnny did have a great voice. He was a great guy for commercials as well. He'd come in half drunk or totally drunk and read a commercial flawlessly. Sight unseen. Just pick up the copy. Cold read. He was a killer. Straight from the bar to the production room. Johnny Jones. Joni was his sister. Joni with Sister Sledge. Yeah, she passed.
Right.
Yep. What's up, John Austin? We're talking radio memories here, flashing back, and I was doing a little question and answer kind of period about who the program director was during certain periods at WGRT, and the answer to that question was Sonny Taylor. So we're just chopping it up here, doing some radio stuff.
You talking about drinking? I mean, that's how I got my first job in radio at WBEE. Was the guy I replaced drank a fifth of Jack Daniels on the air? Damn. Yeah.
Was he trying to make a point or kill himself?
Probably both. I mean, what the engineer told me, he told me that pretty much the guy was screwed up because his girlfriend left him.
That'll do it.
And he went on the air and just had these rants, I was told.
That will do it.
Yeah. His signature line was, "Oh, how I want you, baby."
So he was a pervert, a drunk pervert.
Well, a drunk. Well, I don't know about the. I don't know if he was a pervert or not, but I think what happened was what was told to me from
baby.
Yeah, that's the way he said it. From what the engineer told me. "Oh, how I want you, baby."
Yeah.
It was funny. What I was told was he was telling everybody on the air about how his girlfriend left him. And so now he's talking in the past tense. Mm-hmm. "Oh, how I had you, baby."
Well, it sounds like he had a bit of a sense of humor as well.
Looks like it, yeah.
What was his name?
I forgot his name, man. Maybe Laura knows. That's when Laura was working in PR.
Ah. She was having public relations?
Yes, she was.
You bad.
Well, yeah.
I'm just an instigating, troublemaking fool, but you're bad.
Well, we know that. Yes,
yeah,
I know.
Yeah. Jeff Harrison. Yes, I remember Jeff Harrison. On WJPC. And Ron Rogers. Absolutely, I remember those guys. For sure. Yes, Keith Adams was my program director at KATZ and at KDIA in Oakland, and also where you worked, Don. He was the vice president or national PD, I forget the exact title, at the station in Charlotte that you came to after I left. I don't think it was right
Very
after,
cool.
but at some point you were also at the same station.
Oh, yeah, real quick. So Laura says, yes, she was doing public relations and marketing.
Oh, okay. I don't know what Jeff is doing. Jeff Harrison. I lost track of him when he was in Oakland. Last job I remember him at was at KDIA. We'll have to call Barry Pope, the Wow Man, to, I think he might be still in touch with Jeff Harrison, but I've lost contact in terms of where he is now. Yep. 1983, WGIV, Charlotte. Yep. I was there in 79, early 79, because I left. Nope, 78. Was it 78 or 79? 78 into 79, and then I went back to St. Louis to KKSS, and we changed it to Magic, and then from there I went to Chicago. Barry? Barry who? Cody said Barry. I'm not sure which Barry. Barry. Oh yeah, Barry's in Southern California now, near San Bernardino. He's not on the radio, but yeah, he's down south here, probably an hour away from me. But yeah, he worked up in San Francisco and also St. Louis, where he's from. Well, you know that. What am I telling you for? You know Barry. Yeah, you know him.
That's funny.
Probably as well as I do. Yep, the Pope. The crazy, I used to call him Wow Man, Barry Pope. The wow man. That boy was as crazy as Doug Banks on the radio. Maybe crazier.
Man, that's saying a lot.
If that's possible.
Right.
Yeah, but I've had my my pleasure of working with some wild and crazy talent.
As it should be.
Yeah. I guess I'll do the book one day. I've done like the first 2 or 3 pages, and then I get distracted, man. You know?
Well, see, I used to get on Ty about that. Ty would tell me all these damn good, juicy stories.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, when are you going to write the book?
Yeah.
I got to wait till everybody dies off.
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. Because some of these stories I can't tell.
See?
But
Exactly.
some of them, but listen, in all reality, folks, and we got to get out of here. It's 12 o'clock already. But some stories should never be told. Some things you just don't need to talk about, you know?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Because people, they do stuff that they may, regret later in life. And they have kids and grandchildren. And some things you just don't, some things you need to take to your grave. But there are assholes out there that don't believe that, and they will pimp a situation.
Yeah, they will.
And tell some lies. They'll butter it up and make it something that it really wasn't in the beginning. So, yeah, I'm going to take a lot to my grave because it doesn't need to be talked about. It was an experience between friends, and that's what you do. Shut up.
Shut it up. Shut up, Shuddy.
That's right. All right, folks. What is today? Thursday?
Yes, it is.
I would come in tomorrow, but I probably won't. But if not, you'll hear a replay of one of the shows from this week. Until Monday, for sure, be back, if God is willing, at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And we'll do it again. The Lee Baby Michaels Show with Carol and the cast of characters that include Chris Bass, Alpha.
Boom shakalaka.
Yes, indeed. Apollo, Little Frankie, and you. Yes, you are part of the character list because without you, it wouldn't be the same. Thank you so much for giving us the time and the love. God bless. We'll see you Monday. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you, Chris. Really, on the real. Thank you.
Really, thank you, Leo. Thank you.
No. Thank you more, damn it.
No, thank you more, damn it, times 2.
Oh, you win. Okay, goodbye.
Oh, okay, bye.
Now that I have his mic off, thank you 10 times.